Jeremiah chapter 29, verses 4 through 14. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, to all who were carried away captive, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and dwell in them, plant gardens and eat their fruit. Take wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, so that they may bear sons and daughters, that you may be increased there and not diminished. And seek peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to the Lord, for it is peace, you will have peace. For thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, do not let your prophets and your diviners who are in your midst deceive you, nor listen to your dreams which you caused you to be dreamed. For they prophesy falsely to you in my name. I have not sent them, said the Lord. For thus said the Lord, after 70 years are completed in Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word towards you and cause you to return to this place. For I know the thoughts that I have towards you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call upon me and go and pray to me, and I will listen to you. And you will seek me and find me when you search for me with all of your heart. I will be found by you, said the Lord, and I will bring you back from your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations and from all the places where I have driven you, said the Lord. I will bring you to the place from which I caused you to be carried away. Amen. Today I want to use as a subject, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Turn to the person next to you and say, keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
Yeah, I bet they didn't hear you because I barely heard you. I want you to say it one more time. Tell the person next to you, say, keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
There you go. Keep hope alive, because hope is what we need to continue this life, this journey called life. We need hope. And the thing about hope is that hope is a liberating something. It sets you free. Hope unleashes in us this thing called compassion. It's in that hope that we ignite passion inside of ourselves because of the hope. Hope is a thing that we use to be encouraged, because hope is an encourager. Hope is a thing that motivates you to keep on keeping on. We have to believe and trust, and we have to have hope. Hope is futuristic. Hope focuses on the things to come. Hope connects to the future. Hope determines what the future will be. Hope pushes us in to the future. We have to have hope. Hope allows us to expect the best is yet to come. Hope. Hope is a thing that leads us beyond the point that we find ourselves stuck. Hope. But the thing about hope is that sometimes our hope is tested. Sometimes our hope is shaken. Sometimes our hope is broken. Sometimes our hope is taken away. And when our hope is taken, and when our hope is shaken, and when our hope is broken, we turn to hopelessness. And the thing about hope is that we have to keep hope, because we don't want to turn to hopelessness. And as I look at this text today, as you follow me in this text, we're going to have a really good lesson in this text, because this text can show us something about what God can do in the midst of your hopelessness. So let's look here at the text for a minute. Let's look and see who these people are. They're Jewish, of course, and they're from the southern kingdom of Judah. And they find themselves in captivity in a place called Babylon. These people have been taken to a strange land. They've been taken and they're hanging out and been put amongst some strange people. And the thing about these people, they're in exile. They're in exile in their own home. Have you ever, oh my God, have you ever felt exiled in your own home? Just imagine being exiled in your own home. And here these people find themselves exiled in their own home. They're exiled away from their family. And in fact, things are so bad for them their temple has been destroyed. In other words, their church has been burnt down. Here are these people. I want you to see their condition now, because you can understand that they probably are hopeless because they're exiled in their own home. They're exiled from their own family, and their church has been burnt down. I don't know about you, but if I find myself exiled in my own home and exiled away from my own family, and my church is burnt down, I just believe, I don't know, but I just believe that I'm going to be hopeless. And here these people have been exiled. Here are these people whose church is burnt down. And not only that, the best and brightest people of their community, in other words, all the smart folks, have been taken out. So here they are, exiled. Here they are, have lost their church. Here they are, all of their best minds, the people who can make all the great decisions in their community, has been pulled out. I tell you, if that was my situation, I don't know about you, but I'd be hopeless. And these people have found themselves in a hopeless situation. But I thank God because He's God. As much as they're in a hopeless situation, and let me tell you, as much as you think you're in a hopeless situation, there is a God and there is a word from God. And so as I look at this text, Jeremiah brings to these people who finds themselves in exile, who finds themselves without their church, who finds themselves with the best and brightest of them taken into captivity. And here comes a word from the Lord to these people. Jeremiah says, now look, I understand that you are in exile. I understand that you're in captivity. I understand that your church is gone. But there is a word from the Lord. And he said, this word I have to give you is a word that's going to sustain you. This word that I have to give you is a word that's going to help you through as you're going through this bad situation. This word, the prophet says to the people, is the word that they needed to keep them in the midst of the most hopeless situation that you can ever imagine. And I just want to share with you today that although your situation may be hopeless, and although you may think that things are not going to get better, because everything that you counted on, everything that you depended on, everything that you hoped for is all gone. But I'll tell you, there's a word from the Lord. And I see here, Jeremiah, it says, now listen, don't be discouraged. Don't give up hope. I got a word from the Lord for you. And he says 4 things real quickly, and I'm going to be done. Is that when you find yourself in a hopeless situation, in order for you to keep hope alive, the first thing I see here is that you got to keep on working to improve yourself. In verses 5 and 6, Jeremiah says to the people, I got a word for you from God. And this is what God said to the people who found themselves in exile, who found themselves in captivity, who found themselves without the best and the brightest of the people there to make decisions for them. And their church was burnt down. He says, keep on working to improve yourself. He says, now look, build houses and dwell in them. Plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Take wives and have children. Tell your children, wives, to have children. So in other words, keep on making your family. Keep on creating your legacy. Keep on building your namesake. Because eventually things are going to get better. He said, keep doing it, because if you keep doing it, eventually you're going to increase. And you're not going to diminish. Listen, I don't know. Nobody ever told me this is true, but I just believe you know, in our ancestry that maybe they kept having those children. I know they needed them to work in the field. But part of what they were doing was they were trying to improve their situation. Because the more kids you have to work in the field, the more that you can collect out of the field, which would make your situation better. And so instead of getting in despair, they said, I'm going to build a legacy. And so maybe you need to just keep on working on what it is that you're working on so you can get better. Don't have a pity party. Don't put your head down. Don't cry all night and all day. But keep on trying to make yourself better. Imagine this. If things were real bad, but yet you discovered something that you could do to make things better. I don't know, maybe you could take a class or two. Or maybe you could pick up a habit that would, you know, a hobby that would make you better. Or maybe you'd go help some poor people. Or maybe you go help somebody learn how to read. Or just maybe you would do something to improve you. And as you improve you, you improve your community. This is what he's telling them to do here. He says just keep working on the dreams that you had before you went into captivity. And see, most people get so depressed when things get bad. They can't read, they can't write, they can't sing, they can't talk, they can't sleep. That doesn't make your situation better. What makes your situation better is that you do something to make your situation better. So in other words, Jeremiah says to the people, listen, if you just keep working to improve your situation, then you won't diminish, you will increase. And then he said, so I can bless you, not cause you to be cursed. So if you keep working to improve yourself. So what does that look like for a Christian? I say don't stop praying. I say don't stop believing. I say don't stop fasting. I say don't stop hoping, because if we are going to make it and if we're going to keep hope alive, we have to do the things that God said that makes our lives better. Oh, I know that we have to understand that God, no matter how much we pray this prayer, whatever it is, and how many times we ask God for whatever it is we're asking him for, just know this, that he hears your prayer. And sooner or later, by and by, things are going to get better. I will assure you, if you work for it to get better, it's going to get better. Listen now. So I want to encourage you today to just keep on working on your dream. Just keep on pushing towards your destiny. Just keep on working on your future. Just keep on working on yourself so you can be better. Don't look at somebody else and say, this is happening to me because of them. See, your hope is not in them. Can I tell you that again? Your hope is not in nobody else but you. You can blame other people if you want to, but that's futile. You're wasting your time. You need to spend your time making you better. And if you make you better, you'll forget about them. If you take the time to concentrate on you and make you better, what they doing won't matter. Because what ends up happening, you'll look back and say, how you like me now? Because you can't improve nobody but you. So you keep talking about that, but you're wasting breath. So if you're hopeless and your things are getting hard and they're getting tough and you're wondering what you're going to do, first thing you want to do is improve yourself. Second thing, Jeremiah says to the people, I know you're in exile. I know things are bad. I know your church is burned. And I know your best and brightest are being captivity, but listen what you need to do, people. You need to pray for peace in the midst of your hopelessness. It's right there in verse 7. The prophet says to the people, seek the peace of the city where you are held captive. In other words, in the place they've taken you, in the place where they're holding you and you can't get out, in the place called hopelessness, in the place called I can't escape, in the place called I wish I can leave here, maybe, just maybe, if you just seek the Lord in the peace of the Lord in that place. Because see, sometimes really we want to leave, but why don't we just change the place in which we stay? Instead of leaving, why not transforming the place in which you are in? Jeremiah says to the people, seek the peace of the city that's holding you captive. So what I believe about that, if you seek the peace of the place that's holding you captive, you transform the place and you don't want to leave. It's much easier to stay somewhere than to pack up and leave. I want you to think about this for a minute. When the movers come, all of your stuff gets packed up and it's chaotic. And then they pack it up, then you move. And the place you move to, when they move it in, everything is chaotic. But what happens if you don't have to move? And you just clean that place up and get everything in line and straighten out in the place that you are. Pray for order. Pray for peace in the place that you feel like you're captive. Here it is. He says, seek the peace for the city in which you're held captive. Pray for the Lord, for it is in its peace you will have peace. You know what he's saying? He said, even if you move and you don't have peace, you're not going to have peace. Let me say that again. Because the peace that you seek is in you. It's not in the place in which you go. Jeremiah is saying to the people, you in captivity, but the only way you're going to have peace while you're in captivity is you're going to have to pray for peace while you're in captivity. Because if you get out of captivity and you don't have no peace, when you leave, you still won't have no peace. You'll just be out of captivity. Pray for peace in the midst of the place. So what is that place for you? You're hopeless, right? You're wondering, right? You're depressed, right? Well, in the midst of that place, you pray for peace there. Location is not it. The location is in here. It's in you. Hear me now. That's what he's telling them. He said, don't worry. The only way you're going to keep hope alive, because guess what? If you don't have hope over here, going over there is not going to give you hope. You're taking the hope with you because it's within. And so, look, I want you to pray for peace. No matter what your situation is, no matter what your circumstances are, if it's in your home, pray for peace. If it's in your marriage, pray for peace. If it's in your mind, pray for peace. Because the Bible says seek peace. And the only way you get peace is you pray for peace and God gives you peace. And so listen, don't ask your enemy to give you peace. Your enemy is not going to give you peace. The peace got to come from you. Oh, I wish they quit acting like that. Oh, I wish they quit doing that. If they just stop that, I'll have some peace. No, you won't. Your peace don't come from them. Your peace comes from within you. And when you get peace within you, it doesn't matter what they do. It don't matter what they say. It don't matter how they act. You're going to have peace because the peace that you seek is inside of you. Jeremiah said to the people, I know what's going on with you, but you got a while to get it together. So you better get some peace or else you're going to be crazy. Because they had 70 years to be there. So they sit there and be mad at their captives if they want to. And I'm saying to you, you can be mad at whoever it is you're mad with and who's causing you to be upset and disturbed and whatever it is. But the peace that you need is within you. Hear me now. And so what is it then that's causing you to feel hopeless? So whatever that is, I want you to pray for peace. If you're sick, pray for peace. If your money's funny and your change is strange, pray for peace. If your relationship is crazy and you don't know how you're going to get it straightened out, pray for peace. If your job is stressing you out and you just want to leave, and you know if you leave you ain't going to be able to pay the bills, you better pray for peace. Listen, all I'm trying to say is that if you're in a situation and you're getting hopeless and you need peace, pray for peace, but the peace that you pray for is internally in you. Jeremiah said, listen, it's not about a person. It's not about a place. It's not about a thing. It's about you. And so if you want peace in the midst of your storm, if you want peace in the midst of your hopelessness, you need to pray for the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. And you got to pray for that peace for yourself in the midst of it. Third thing. If you're going to keep hope alive, the third thing, as I look at the text in verses 8 and 9, Jeremiah says, now, I got something to tell you from the word of God. But look what he told them not to do. Look at this. He said, no. Don't let your prophets, and diviners who are in the midst of you deceive you. In other words, he said, don't you listen to them. But then he says something that was interesting. He said, and nor listen to your dreams, because they may deceive you too. But I said, what? I thought we were supposed to listen to Prophet Jeremiah. You're a prophet, we're listening to you. But here's what he said now. He says now, why shouldn't they listen to these prophets? Why shouldn't they listen for these diviners? Why shouldn't they listen to their dreams? Let me tell you why. Can I tell you why? Yes. Let me tell you why. The reason he's telling them that is because the prophet had prophesied to them in God's name, but they were telling lies. They were giving false prophets. And I hope, I said this to you many times, but be careful who you let prophesy to you. Because here Jeremiah says, the prophet prophesied to you, but the Lord didn't send them. It's right here in the Bible. So if it's happening here, it can happen. Absolutely. But see, the background here, the background of what he was telling them was that the prophet Hananiah had prophesied to them and told them, now look how far this dude was off. He told them, yes, you're going to go into captivity, but you're only going to go into captivity for 2 years. But the fact was that they were going to go into captivity for 70 years. So now imagine this. You listen to somebody telling you this is only going to last, this misery that you're going to be in is only going to last for 2 years. But in fact, this misery is going to last for 70 years. So what happens in your mind on the 3rd and 4th year, in the 5th and 6th year, in the 7th and 8th year, in the 9th and 10th year, and on and on and on and on, because he told you that it was only going to last 2 years. And see, some of you listen to people telling you stuff, and you get all hyped and all excited and all knowing that, oh yes, so-and-so prophet so-and-so told me, prophetess so-and-so told me, I know it's going to happen. But Jeremiah said, wait, you're already in a bad situation. You need to watch and pay attention to who you're listening to. Because listen, if they tell you something that's not right, guess what happens? Your situation gets worse. You get more depressed. You get more hopeless. And you know, can I just tell you, some of you may know this, some of you may not, but just a teaching moment that I want to share with you. There's 3 functions, really, brothers and sisters. The gift of prophecy, 3 functions. Can I tell you? Yes. 3 functions. First function, the gift of prophecy is for edification. The second is a consolation, right, to give comfort. And the third one is exhortation. Can I explain those? So if it's for edification, it lifts you up. It improves you. It guides you in the right direction. If it's consolation, it gives you comfort, right? It consoles you. And the third, if it's exhortation, it conveys that something is happening, it's urgent. And it gives you a warning. It says, now look, this is coming. It's on its way. And then it gives you recommendations. But be very careful. Because prophets don't, hear me what I'm going to tell you, they can't predict the future. God is the only one who knows the future. Hear me now. I know that sometimes people tell us stuff we want to hear. And we really get excited about that. But I want to say to you that you need to listen to the voice of God. Because listen, if someone tells you something, do your due diligence. Go to the Word of God. Meditate on His Word. Fast, pray, ask God, is this for you? Because somebody can tell you something because they want you to hit the wall, lead you into a train wreck. Listen, just because you want to hear something good don't mean it's good. Some people know your vulnerabilities. Hear me. Don't get tricked. And I'd be negligent if I didn't tell you. I know it sounds good. I know, oh yes, oh, the prophet told me. But once the prophet tells you, you better go talk to God. He's your voice. He's the one you want to listen to. Because He is the one who knows what your future is. And so, to get to that point, the fourth and final point is that if you're going to keep hope alive, you got to realize that God knows your future. If you look at Jeremiah as he began to talk to the people in verses 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, I think. He began to talk to them about the future. Look what he says now. He says now, you go and start in verse 10, he starts saying, he said, now after 70 years are complete in Babylon, I will visit you. I will perform my good word towards you. I will return you to Jerusalem. So now he's saying to them, after you've been there for a while, 70 years, not 2, I'm going to come and visit you. And I'm going to perform something good for you. And I'm going to return you back to where you came from. But then he says now, and this is the one that we always talk about, but then the Lord says to him, so now, in verse 11, I know the thoughts that I think towards you. Thoughts of peace, thoughts of not evil, to give you a future, to give you hope. So in other words, God knows what your future is. And He'll begin to tell you about your future. And it says in verse 12, the Lord said, when you will call upon me, you will go and pray to me. I'll listen to you. I want to say number 12, verse 12 again. He said, you will call upon me, and you will go and pray to me, and I will listen to you. And then the Lord said in verse 13, you will seek me, and you will find me, after searching for me with all of your heart. God knows your future. He knows what He thinks about you. He knows what He's going to do for you. He knows already. But I know it looks like when you're in the midst of your hopelessness that God don't hear you, God don't see you, God don't know you. But this text says that God does know you, and He knows all that He has in store for you. And so what that says to me is it doesn't matter how hopeless things look, no matter how dark the day, how dark the night. Listen, God knows your future ahead of time. And if he knows your future ahead of time, don't you think that he's going to take care of you? Don't you think he's going to come and rescue you? And then verse 13, he says, that the Lord said, I will be found by you, and I will bring you back from captivity. I will bring you back to the place I caused you to be carried away from. Now, that doesn't seem significant, really, just as I said it. But you have to think about the place that he brought them away from. Remember in the beginning I said that they were from the southern kingdom of Judah. Okay? Doesn't seem significant, does it? But when you have to think about, he's sending them back to Judah. And you got to remember now that they're hopeless, and they're struggling, and they're in their captivity. But he's going to take them back to Judah. He's going to take them back to where he bought them from. That's what you're talking about. He's going to take them back to Judah. After 70 years, he's going to carry them back. And to understand why that means something is that you got to understand that Judah means praise. And so if they've been crying, and they've been depressed, and they've been hopeless, and they've been wondering if their time would ever come, and the Lord came to them, and he said to them, I'm going to take you back to a place called praise, a place that I brought you out of. And if a place called praise is a place called Judah, and I know some of you looking and hoping that God will show up and take you back to a place called praise, a place called praise. And I want to tell you that the best thing to do is don't wait till he come back and take you. You can have your praise wherever you are. Listen to me now. God had to go back and bring them back to a place called praise. But now, because he's put us here, anywhere we are is a place called praise. No matter what your circumstances is, it could be a place called praise. It doesn't matter what your situation is, you can create a place called praise. It doesn't matter what you've been through, you can create a place called praise. It doesn't matter what you're going through right now, you can create a place called praise. Because the thing about praise, you can praise no matter wherever you are. You can praise in the sanctuary. You can praise in the shower. You can praise in the living room. You can praise in your car. You can praise in the street. You can praise in the hallway. You can praise in the parking lot. Wherever you are, you can break out and you can make it a place called praise. So God doesn't have to take you back to a place called praise. You can create a place called praise wherever you are. So God said to them, I know that you had a hard time. I know that you're feeling sad, and I know you're feeling homesick, and I know you miss your family, and I know you miss the familiar place that you've been, but I'm going to take you back to a place called praise. And I want to say to you today, we can keep our hope alive if we are in a continual place called praise. See, it's that place called praise that helps you forget about all the stuff that you're going through. It's that place called praise that helps you forget about all the stuff that you've been through. It's that place called praise that you can create for yourself that helps you stand and keep hope alive in the midst of your storm, in the midst of your struggle, in the midst of your defeats, in the midst of all that you're going through, that place called praise. That God don't have to take you there. All you have to do is get there on your very own in that place called praise. Oh, I got excited when I saw that. I didn't see it at first. But when he said he was going to take them back to the place in which they had been brought from captivity into captivity, I thought about, wait a minute. They came from Judah. Judah is a place called praise. And so you know what? You can keep hope alive in spite of your circumstances, in spite of your situations, in spite of your ups, in spite of your downs, in spite of your enemies, in spite of your friends, in spite of your family, in spite of whatever it is that you're going through or you're faced with, you can have a place called praise. And in that place called praise, that's a place called hope. Because if you can praise, you got hope. Because you're praising not for what you're going through, not for what you've been through. You're praising because what God can bring you through and what God has brought you through. You're thanking Him in the midst of the storm, in the midst of your struggle, in the midst of your hard times. You praise God. You can keep hope alive in your life. And so I told you 4 things today. And I want you to take those and I want you to put them down on that paper and I want you to look at it. Because I just believe if we just hold on just a little while longer, if we just hold on just a little while longer, if we just hold on just a little while longer, we can keep hope alive. Don't get depressed. Don't get stressed out. Don't get angry. Don't get none of that. Get hopeful because we serve a God who is our hope. He is our faith. He is our confidence. I want you to know something. No matter what the situation is, no matter how long it has lasted, these people were in captivity for 70 years. And so they can make it. And there were some people. It had to be. Because 70 years later, He was giving them the message of coming out. Because 70 years earlier, He was giving them a message of coming in. I'm trying to give you a message of coming out. You need to come out. Come out. Come out of your depression. Come out. Come out of your anger. Come out. Come out of your unforgiveness. Come out. 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 Come into your hope. Because God is your hope. He's your only hope. Don't look to your left. Don't look to your right. Don't look behind you. Just look upward to your only lasting hope. And that's God Himself. And so listen. Keep hope alive by keep working on yourself to improve yourself. Keep hope alive by praying for peace in the midst of your struggle, in the midst of your storm, in the midst of the place that you think you can't make it out of. Keep hope alive by being careful about who you let speak in your ear, speak into your life. Because see, everybody who's speaking not speaking on your behalf. They're speaking against you. You just don't know it. It may sound good, but it ain't good for you. It may be good for them. All advice, hate to tell you this, is not good advice. All prophets are not true prophets. And finally, you can keep hope alive because you realize that God, not man, God has your future in His hand. It's God who has your future in His hand. It's God. And so doesn't matter. It does not matter. It does not matter what it looks like. It does not matter what it sounds like. It does not matter what they tell you it's going to be like. Only thing that matters, that our hope is built on nothing less but Jesus and His righteousness. Our hope is built on nothing less, Jesus and His righteousness. Keep hope alive.
Oh God, oh Lord, everything I gave to you.